Uh, Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Sneed. I'm with the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, and welcome to the third webinar in our series celebrating MDM, which is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. This webinar is entitled AT Accessible, Made Accessible. To start off, we're going to start off with a question, and you can put your answer in the chat and kind of introduce yourself. The question is, what is your favorite holiday drink? I like hot cinnamon tea during the holidays. Actually, every day is fine. Also, you can also answer, who do you think is going to win the World Series? I am going to go with the Diamondbacks. So, because it's Arizona and I hate the Rangers, so just to go over a couple of Zoom guidelines today. Please be respectful. Everybody has a right to speak. So also, if you want to raise your hand, you can use *9 on the phone or use the reactions button at the bottom of your window. Also, we have closed captioning today, so please try to speak slowly, for them to type. And also, we have interpreters as well. Feel free to pin the interpreters to your screen. If you have to use the closed captioning, go to more at the bottom of the Zoom window and go to captioning, and it should allow you to do the captionings. If you're not speaking, please keep your video off, just to be for accessibility reasons. If you have to unmute, push *6 if you're on the phone. And let's just have a good time today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Abel Young. Take it away, Abel.
Thank you, Jason. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. First, I would like to welcome each of you to an exciting training made possible by a partnership with the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Network, Arizona Association of People Supporting Employment First, Arizona Employment First, and the Arizona Department of Economic Security Rehabilitation Services Administration. My name is Abel Young. I'm the Director of Community Services for the Sonoran Center at the University of Arizona, where I direct programs to increase competitive integrated employment for individuals with disabilities. Today, we will present our last of 3 training webinars to help celebrate National Disability Employment Awareness Month, or NDEAM. NDEAM educates individuals, employers, and the communities on disability employment issues and celebrates the diverse contributions of Arizona's workers with disabilities. This year's NDEAM theme is Advancing Access and Equity. Today's training is titled AT Made Accessible and will be presented by Sue LeHew, Anne Barno, Heidi Lervick, and Nathan Pullen. Sue is the Assistive Technology Coordinator for the Rehabilitation Services Administration. Her education includes a bachelor's from Brooklyn College and master's from Long Island University with a specialty in severe profound disabilities. Sue's experience includes working with individuals having developmental disabilities in New York and Arizona, and working with assistive technology for vocational rehabilitation and independent living with persons having a wide variety of disabilities since 1995. Sue holds certificates from CSUN and the Assistive Technology Graduate Certificate from NAU. Anne is an assistive technology specialist with the Institute for Human Development's Assistive Technology and Employment and Independence Program. She has over 12 years experience serving individuals with complex bodies and communication needs. Her journey started as a care provider, using her knowledge and understanding of an individual's needs in multiple settings. Anne has worked for a neighboring school district and a local home health-based company as a speech and language pathologist assistant and assistive technology specialist. She is currently pursuing her Master's of Science in Speech and Language Pathology at Northern Arizona University. In addition, Mary Ann leads one of the Out and About community groups for augmentative and alternative communication users within the Phoenix metro area. A passion for helping others drives Mary Ann's dedication and resilience to overcome barriers and bring inclusion for all. Heidi is an assistive technology specialist with IHD's Assistive Technology for Employment and Independence program. With over 25 years of experience working with individuals with various disabilities in the state of Arizona, Heidi has worked for the Rehabilitation Services Administration, the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and Cochlear Americas. For the last 7 years, she has specialized in the field of assistive technology, working for the Arizona Technology Access Program, or ASTAP, as an AT specialist. Her education includes bachelor's degrees in sociology and psychology from the University of Wisconsin, River Falls, and a master's in rehabilitation counseling from the University of Arizona. She is also a certified rehabilitation counselor from the Commission on Rehabilitation Counselor Certification, and a RESNA certified assistive technology professional. Heidi contributes her technical expertise in the field of assistive technology, her connections and understanding of disability services in Arizona, and her unwavering devotion to client services with enthusiasm and a sense of humor, which makes her a favorite among clients and professionals alike. Nathan is the director of the Assistive Technology for Employment and Independence program at IHD. Nathan has over 20 years of leadership experience, including the administration of an employment program for legally blind individuals with the Rehabilitation Services Administration. Nathan has many years of assistive technology expertise and serves on the ASTAP Advisory Board, the Governor's Council on Blindness and Visual Impairment, the Ability 360 Board of Directors, and many other boards and community organizations. Okay, so during the presentation today, I will be monitoring the chat box for any questions that may come up. I will hold all of those questions until the end, just in case any of them are answered throughout the presentation. But any questions that are answered, I will make sure that I read them off and get them answered for you all at the end of the presentation. There will also be dedicated time at the end for any additional questions that you may have for the presenters. Okay, Sue, Mary Ann, Heidi, and Nathan, take it away.
Thank you, Abel. Let me get my screen shared here. Everyone see my screen okay? PowerPoint?
Yes.
Perfect. So welcome. We are starting with our presentation, AT Made Accessible, for the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We'd like to start by thanking the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council for putting this event on and coordinating everything today. As Abel mentioned, these are the presenters. Myself, I'm Nathan Pullen. Heidi and Marianne and Sue, do you want to say a quick?
I'm Anne Barno.
I'm Heidi Lervick.
Sue LeHew.
And we are presenting today a combined perspective from the ATEI program, as well as the Voc Rehab program, and we're going to help you find success in using assistive technology. So we have some learning objectives for today. To start, we're looking to understand the definition of assistive technology, to understand high-tech and low-tech, as well as strategy solutions, to become familiar with the ATEI program and processes for receiving assistive technology services through vocational rehabilitation, and to understand how AT can help employers and post-secondary institutions to make reasonable accommodations.
Hi there. This is Sue. Oh, I only see Nathan. I don't, hopefully I'm there on the screen, I guess. What is assistive technology? That's a question people have pondered for a long time. And this is my very favorite definition. I used to quote it a lot, and then I started seeing it quoted back, and I haven't seen it out there in a couple years, so we're adding it today. For most people, technology makes things easier. For people with disabilities, technology makes things possible. I always knew it was quoted by Mary Pat Rodabar, Director of IBM National Support Persons. I did not know it's from 1988. That's when this started kicking around, for those of you who have heard it before. But the real thing is the federal definition of AT, and this definition applies to the Voc Rehab Act. I see a lot of Voc Rehab counselors and Voc Rehab staff on the line. This applies to school systems under IDEA, and it applies to eligible employers, or required employers under ADA. And that being any item, piece of equipment, or product system, whether acquired commercially, off the shelf, modified, or customized, that is used to increase, maintain, or improve functional capabilities of individuals with disabilities. So I ask you, Nathan mentioned high tech and low tech. High tech is very critical. We have wonderful folks talking about high tech, but this right here, can everyone see this straw? This straw becomes assistive technology for someone who has to drink, who is reclined in their wheelchair, laying down in bed. Flexible straw is critical, and a 1/2-inch drill to drill a hole in the top, and this bottle can be reused for anything. So this becomes assistive technology. And in case there are folks, I know folks with developmental disabilities may need something like this. This is food grade tubing from Amazon, 1/4 inch, and it's for winemaking, and it costs probably $11, and a 1/2-inch drill gets you access to a vintage bottle. Yay. Next slide, please. So the definitions: assistive technology allows persons with disabilities to go boldly where everyone else has gone before. This is a favorite button, an ADA button they used to share. Next slide, please. And then this is back in when computers were evolving. This is one of the first computers. It's called ENIAC. It is not accessible cognitively, visually, physically. I think the only thing accessible in this picture of ladies with million wires is the lady's shoes in the middle. Her shoes look pretty comfortable for the task. Then maybe that's ergonomic, but nothing else about it. And this was around the 1940s that this was happening. So next slide, please. In the course of 40 years, IBM, Hewlett-Packard, Apple, Intel, they developed laptop computers and desktop computers, and persons with disabilities got in there and said, hey, I want to participate in that. And some of the early accessibility was in blindness when we had DOS. The program people know as JAWS actually starts, it's an acronym, Job Access for Windows. I mean, Job Access with Speech is what JAWS stands for. And so early on, people knew it had to be accessible. And nowadays, the accessibility components that are right at your fingertips in the operating system that you're using, and that's all state staff, all folks at home, it's right there. And it may be perfect for the person who's losing function. It might exactly meet their needs as a free accommodation, or it may be the perfect interim accommodation while that person is waiting for the more robust assistive technology. So we put the link in the PowerPoint to Microsoft Accessibility, Apple Accessibility. They used to just put these great tools in their software and not tell anyone about it. Now there are whole units supporting how to use the software, when to use the software. So next slide, please. So it's at your fingertips. I guess I could control the slide. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that. This is an example of the Microsoft Accessibility homepage. I'm not going to go through each of these, but they have really, really, truly evolved in terms of built-in supports. Like I said, everyone has this for vision, neurodiversity, mobility, hearing, learning, and mental health. These are huge because it used to be you had to buy all outside products to gain that access. And now you don't. And I think you, Nathan, I think you do have to advance the slide for me. Thank you. I want to definitely give you some examples of this because I know people are aware that they're built in, and maybe for the populations listening, there are 3 very important tools that may be helpful for someone that you know. So one is called sticky keys, and there are 2 images on this page. One is a person using one finger, one hand for typing. You can see they're typing on a colored keyboard, and their other hand is controlling a joystick mouse that has almost like a cue ball on top of it. So this part of this slide, this last sharing I have, is specifically for people with one hand, one finger typists. It's a passion of mine. If we don't protect the good hand, if you will, and overuse it, then we're doing a disservice to that person vocationally. Because if you damage your good hand, you don't have any hand. So for VR, I hope all of our counselors are getting the proper OT assessments and whatnot. And positioning is critical for one key, one hand, one finger typist. But Sticky Keys is the built-in program, and feel free to do this. You won't break your computer, but we don't want you to get lost either. Do it sometime when you're in a word processing. If you press the shift key 5 times, you'll hear group, and the computer will ask, do you want to turn sticky keys on? So the big trick for sticky keys is that you can tap the shift key instead of holding it, and then tap the number 4, and it types a $sign. The caps lock will not allow you to type a $sign. It doesn't capitalize. Also, Control-Alt-Delete. Someone who's one hand, one finger typist can't do Control-Alt-Delete. You have to hold all those keys down at the same time. So that's what Sticky Keys does. And if you play with it on your computer, it's a toggle, and you want to turn it off, tap the shift key 5 times and you can turn it off, no problem. The second quick thing about these at your fingertip AT-made accessible softwares is mouse keys. It's on they have it for the Apple and the Mac. You do have to navigate through the accessibility feature to turn mouse keys on, and that's where you do it. And it turns your numeric keypad into a mouse. So a one hand, one finger typist can press this button, press this key, and the mouse will move up to wherever they want it. And then when they want to click, they just press the click key, which is the number 5 on the keypad. So some of the folks you know might benefit from knowing this. When I meet a VR client and I know they're one finger, one hand typist, I always ask if they're familiar with sticky keys and if they've ever used mouse keys. And then the third one I wanted to spotlight before we go into some of the rest of this is Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader is a built-in, really robust reading program that mostly only works on Microsoft products, but it's still a very useful tool. It'll customize the display of the font as the person's looking at it, customize the text and the color background, and it'll read aloud. So those are 3 built-in tools that you're now aware of. And I'm going to pass the presentation on to Nathan.
Thank you, Sue. So Sue gave some great examples of assistive technology and some of the things that it can do for you. Now we're going to talk a little bit about ways that you can actually receive assistive technology services if that is something that you need. So we're talking a little bit starting about the Institute for Human Development, It was founded in 1967, an interdisciplinary unit, which is housed at NAU, Northern Arizona University. This is designated as a University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, a UCED. The other is the Sonoran UCED, where Abel, who introduced us, works down in Tucson at the U of A. Our focus at IHD is on 4 core function areas, which cross both age and disability categories. Those include research and evaluation, interdisciplinary education and training, information dissemination, and community services, which include a broad range of AT programs. Within that is ASTAP, which you have likely heard of, the Arizona Technology Access Program, and the newer program that we're part of here today, ATEI, Assistive Technology for Employment and Independence. And we do have links up there that we'll also share out in information on slides after the event today. So a little bit more about ATEI. This is or will become the new comprehensive statewide AT services contract for RSA clients. It's funded through a contract with Rehabilitation Services Administration, and the services that are provided will include comprehensive AT evaluations, client AT development implementation services, which includes client-specific AT product purchases, delivering the product to our clients, client training, product setup, installation, and configuration, as well as providing technical assistance to employers, educators, and others that are involved with the client and their assistive technology use. We also have an employment and independent living related dedicated AT device inventory, which is used similar to ASTAP for device demonstrations, as well as for short-term product loans for RSA clients, staff, and community-based AT specialists. A few examples of some AT services that are provided, again, include comprehensive assessments with focus areas that cover communication, independent living, computer access, worksite, and other, as well as client equipment purchases and those implementation services that I mentioned. Heidi or Marianne would like to jump in and give any examples that you might like to share.
Nathan,
Actually-
we have a slide coming up with some pictures along with it.
Before I jump to the next slide, I just want to mention a few quick services that are not provided through the ATEI contract. That doesn't mean they're not available through RSA, but through a different means. Those include hearing aids, adaptive driving, vehicle mods, home mods, and scripting.
Thank you, Nathan. So Krista is a VR client. We're going to give this video, and then we have another video at the end to kind of show you just real world experiences. So she uses assistive technology, and she has been using VR services for years to further her education and employment. Krista is an AAC user, which means she uses alternative and augmentative communication. So AAC, just to give a quick overview, it can be used to augment or add to the speech production that a client currently has, or it can be used as an alternative means of communication. So to be used instead of speech. And there are many forms of AAC, which can range from no technology to high technology. No tech means it doesn't require anything outside of the person's body. Low tech requires something external to the user that can be either non-electronic or a simple electronic device. And some options could be gestures, facial expressions, writing, printed pictures, word boards, communication books, and more. Whereas a high-tech device is an electronic device that's similar to a computer. And as you'll see in this video, Krista is using high-tech communication device, and hers is on a tablet and it has voice output feature. And just a little bit more about Krista and her current journey is that she is working as a care provider, and she's also going to school to become a speech and language pathologist assistant. And her main goal is that she wants to mentor and teach clients and other professionals on how to use AAC. So this video is going to show us an example of how VR services can further education as well as employment using assistive technology. I'm not hearing any sound this time, Nathan. I don't know.
Let's try it again.
I am Krista Howard. I have cerebral palsy and I use a device to talk. I am going to graduate in December 2020 with a degree in educational studies. I got an AA degree. I am looking forward to this class. The big assignment is going to help me a lot in the future. This class will be good for me. I am excited about it. My unique is I have a son. He is 8 and I love to paint. He is reason that I am doing more education. My experience is working with people who have disabilities. I volunteered in high school at daycare and I loved it, so my speech therapist is helping me with my career. We started a group in West Valley in Phoenix with people who use devices we meet in the community. I am going to be a speech therapist assistant. I know what you are thinking about. How? Well, speech therapists think that I can do the job, and I am going to do an amazing job. Well, I love technology and I support people. One of my best friends is a speech therapist that I met through my mentor, role model. She is Dr. Caroline Musselwhite. Look her up. I work at a day program in school. I help them on their communication devices and more. It is same building. Yay. I also getting a special education certificate. I travel all the world to go on annual conferences for my career. Thank you for watching my video.
So as you saw in the video, Krista is pursuing both her educational and employment goals. And for all of our clients, it is important to use the SETT framework to determine what assistive technology will best support the client with their specific goals and work-related responsibilities. So this is a whole team approach where we work together with the client and corresponding personnel. And as you can see on our slide, we have a quick breakdown of what the SETT stands for. So it starts with the student or specific individual, and this focuses on the person as a whole, along with their preferences and current abilities. Then we take a look at their environment. So what is currently being used, along with the physical setup of the work or school environment. After looking at both the individual and the environment, we focus on the task that needs to be achieved, but has current barriers. So from here, we come up with tools that can be used to eliminate these barriers. And the SETT framework is utilized to ensure the appropriate match between people's needs and device features. In the next slide, Heidi's going to show you some examples that we have used while doing this pilot program at ATEI.
Thanks, Marianne. So Marianne, she explained the importance of the SETT framework that we use when we go out and do AT assessments. And so we decided we wanted to show you some of the items that we have purchased or have recommended for some of the current clients that we are working with. On the top left of the slide, it's a picture of a clock. Now, this is a special alarm clock because it is very, very loud. It flashes a bright light. And then right below the clock is a bed shaker, and this vibrates, and people often put it under their pillow. So this is often used for someone with a hearing loss. If I can't wake up to go to work, then that's not going to be good. So I'm going to need AT to help me assure that. Right below the bed shaker is a smoke detector and a CO2 detector. This is paired with a clock. The clock is a receiver that is paired with these items. So if it's in the middle of the night and my smoke detector goes off, I'm going to know that this is happening. And then right of the clock is a doorbell. This is to allow people to know that, hey, someone's at my door. And then, so these home alerting devices, they come in all kinds of different various equipment. And so this is what we allow the client to choose from themselves. We demonstrate various pieces for them to pick. And then below the alerting devices, we have a sit to stand desk. And this is after looking at ergonomic workstation for someone. This desk is often used for someone that might have a back injury. They need to be able to sit when they can. They need to stand when they can. So just by a push of the button, that desk is able to go up and down for that person. In the top middle part of the slide, it's a handheld magnifier. This magnifier is great. As you can see, there's like a handle sticking out of it. That can be tucked into this magnifier, so it's easily can be placed into a pocket, purse, or maybe a backpack. This magnifier does various types of things for the person. It, of course, magnifies the wording. You can do different color contrast. You can take a picture and enlarge it. And there's all kinds of variety of magnifiers out there. So it is very important that we demonstrate different ones to fit the person's needs. Right below the magnifier, this is very low tech. These are bump dots, and bump dots too come in various colors, sizes, shapes, but it's nice because it helps the person navigate something. And often it could be on a microwave, so they know the button for off, on, extra 30 seconds. A lot of times they're put on keyboards, wash machines, and dryers. So it's whatever the person needs to utilize on a piece of equipment. And then below the bump dots, those are just various, it's a filtered glasses. Now these come in various colors as well. It's often used for someone that cannot see bright light. That could be sunlight. It could be maybe the lights coming, headlights from a car when they're driving at night, or at work that they have fluorescent lights that really irritate the vision and causes headaches and strain. So we have a client that currently has 3 different pairs of these for all those situations. The top right corner is a picture of an AAC device. It's kind of like the video that you saw with Krista. And these devices are amazing. There's so many ways that you're able to access a communication page. Sometimes someone uses a switch, they use their own eyes. They might even have the ability to just touch it with their finger. So there's many ways to access that. So that would be very high tech device. And just below it is very low tech. It's just a communication book. This book happens to be on a page is with lunch items. So the person could maybe just point to something regarding lunch. These can come in various, it could be one page, it could be an image, it could be just letters and they point to the letter to spell something. I've often see a lot of the low tech such as this when someone's had a stroke and they're just trying to communicate their needs. So again, it's just important that we demonstrate all various types of equipment to fit the person's needs through the SETT framework. And the next slide, we wanted to show you another person, Anthony, and how he uses his AAC device and went through vocational rehab himself. So hope you can enjoy this video.
Anthony Martin, an augmentative and alternative communicator from Santan Valley, Arizona. However, I'm originally from Grand Forks, North Dakota. My father and I moved here in January of 2020, primarily because of the nicer climate. It has proven to be very beneficial in every aspect of my life, with most notably mental health. I appear more outgoing and have greater willingness to contribute to my surrounding community, especially to my fellow augmentative and alternative communicators, where I feel the possibilities are endless nowadays thanks to newer technologies. During my high school years, I got connected with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. It's now about 30 years ago, and now looking back on that period of my life, I wish someone would have properly educated me on the purpose behind the office. They should be partners with the client, not their ruler with saying what can or can't be accomplished. I wish I would have taken this approach, because I truly believe I could have made greater gains. Back in high school, all I wanted to do is obtain employment with PRC Saltillo, the company behind my communication device. Back in those days, this was highly unlikely primarily because of geographics, and the internet was barely getting introduced. I wish that my school would have made career planning more accessible by bringing in the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, so we could have started planning for beyond graduation and have a seamless transition. Again, I should have better advocated for myself. I have learned in order to succeed beyond high school, it takes a lot of advocacy on your part. No one is going to advocate for you like what they did the first 18 to 21 years of your life. You have to step up to the plate and take not only responsibility, but ownership of your destiny. After graduating high school, I tried a couple of semesters at the University of North Dakota. The Office of Vocational Rehabilitation did help me with parts of this, such as with personal attendant care during the day and some technology to help me with my studies. One day, I determined that college wasn't working out for me, therefore I dropped out of all my classes without telling anyone beforehand. Now looking back, I wish I would have called a meeting to discuss what we could have done to improve things. After leaving college, my involvement with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation slowly ended, primarily because I wasn't motivated to reinvent myself, even if I would have volunteered various places to gain different experience, and then focused on a certain area. 2 years after leaving college was when I learned that PRC Saltillo was beginning to employ augmentative and alternative communicators as remote troubleshooters to cover nighttime and weekend hours. Upon getting hired, they did have me come to their headquarters in Worcester, Ohio for intensive training on the communication devices I'm responsible for troubleshooting effectively at home. I have been troubleshooting for the past 23 years. PRC Saltillo has always been good at providing me not only additional training, but actual communication devices I can use. Now, thanks to the internet, I sometimes receive correspondence several times a day. I feel almost like I'm there with them in real time. After analyzing the past 23 years, I wish I would have been involved with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. They couldn't have only helped PRC SALT provide me with technology. They could have evaluated me on phones periodically to make sure I was performing at my fullest potential. We could have a great partnership between the three identities. Again, nothing ever gets handed to you. You have to do your own advocating to make sure everything is aligned with your goals in life. Thanks to modern day technology, most things are accessible. It's your life, it's your call. Don't be afraid to ask for a little assistance along the way. Who knows, it may bring greater possibilities in the long term.
We hope that you enjoyed the video. Sometimes it just helps seeing equipment being used. So right now we're going to ask if you have any questions for us. And I think there's probably some questions probably in the chat room.
Hi, Heidi, this is Abel. There was only one question that came up while you guys were presenting, and the question, it was answered, but I'll ask it anyways. Is the AAC the same as an OGCOM device? So it looks like trying to clarify the acronym.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Mhm.
If there's any other questions, feel free to ask. Again, that was the only question in the chat while you guys were presenting.
This is Sue. Since we have an extra moment, it seems, Marianne, do you want to talk about AAC and all of the services that surround a device? Because it's so easy, and myself included, when I was there when AAC started, and you couldn't customize the device, and the person had to learn exactly what was on that device, or they weren't eligible. Now you can customize through eye gaze. There's so many. Maybe if we have, I think we have a moment, talk about the input, the output, the multidisciplinary team that it takes to conduct an AAC evaluation, because I think many people may not know that.
So just to kind of clear up in the chat, so AAC stands for Alternative and Augmentative Communication. So this can mean that the device is used to supplement someone's speech. So they have vocalizations or some speech that might not be intelligible 80 to 100% of the time. So they need another system to kind of supplement what they are producing, or it can be used as an alternative means of communication. So if you don't have verbal speech, you can use the device as an alternative means. An AugCom device, just augmentative, it's a little acronym for it, or a short term for AAC, one and the same. As far as, there's plenty of different devices out there by different companies, and it kind of depends on obviously it depends on the client, but if they've been using a device for years, has this device been working for them? Do we need to look at something maybe different? Also, has their access changed? Are they still able to access it using direct selection with their finger? Or are they going to be using either one switch to scan through the rows of the device, or two switches kind of working like a mouse to scan and then to select? As we've mentioned, you can use the device using eye gaze. I've also known someone to use a device by activating it with a switch by their foot. So there's just so many different ways that you can access devices. Even just from my experiences with AAC, they have come a long way. They used to be very big, very heavy, and thankfully they've kind of condensed the size, make them a little bit lighter now too, so they're easier to carry. And all of this goes into play on what kind of device might be recommended or trialed during an AAC evaluation. So from my experiences with the home health agency that I worked with, typically a client will trial 3 different devices, and it'll be a speech language pathologist and either an occupational therapist or physical therapist doing the AAC evaluation. And this is where you do use the SETT framework. You take the client's preferences in play. You see all the different settings that the client's going to be using the AAC device. And that's how you'll get to maybe what devices you're going to trial based on even their experiences with AAC. And then from there, you'll come up with the best determination of an AAC device for that specific client. I hope that was kind of a good little snapshot of AAC.
Thank you, Mary Ann. That was great. Another question came in from Michael. What is the process for receiving ATEI services? So services from your program.
Cover that. Thank you, Michael, for the question. That's a great one. So we did touch a little bit on ATEI and the services that are available, but not necessarily the entire process. So ATEI is an exclusive provider on behalf of Voc Rehab or the RSA administration. So you just have to be a vocational rehabilitation client to start. So if you have a need for assistive technology, if you have a specific item that you know that you need, or just you know that you have a need for some assistance and you want to know what is out there that can help to support component of your pursuit of employment or independent living, those are services that we can help to provide for you. You start by contacting your Voc Rehab counselor and letting them know of your needs. They will then submit what is called a referral form over to us that contains some of your case information, demographic information, background, contact info, all of those things. And from there, we will do a quick evaluation of the information we've received, and then we'll reach out to you to find out a little bit more about your needs. We will also then offer to you a couple of potential different providers or vendors. They may be our own internal staff like Heidi or Mary Ann, or they may be a more specialized outside provider or contractor that works with us to make sure that all of the different AT specialty areas and needs are covered. So we'll involve the appropriate experts and specialists in your case, and then we'll work with you to schedule a time to complete that comprehensive evaluation process that we mentioned earlier. Now, that evaluation process can be done in a couple of different places, but our intent is to meet you where you are and serve your needs. So we will typically come to your home, your office, your place of work, your school, wherever your needs are most prevalent, so that we can appropriately evaluate you and your needs for assistive technology in the correct environment where you would actually be putting it into use. So we'll then go through some different demonstrations and trying out different types of equipment, different pieces of equipment to find the right features that are the correct match for you. When all of that evaluation process is done, we do then have to send the report over to the Voc Rehab counselor so that they can sign off on it and approve the expenditures, the purchase of that equipment. We will then go ahead and purchase the equipment, provide it to you, schedule a time to arrange for the delivery of the equipment, and spend some time training you on the use of that equipment and making sure that you're comfortable with it and that it meets your needs. So that's the nutshell overview of the ATEI process. And I think we have a few other questions, so I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Nathan. That was very informative. Yes, another question. Do you have any advice for how to increase accessibility to AT for students with IEPs? In general, schools seem reluctant to even consider it, but if students aren't aware of what's available, they miss out on AT that could make learning easier.
We probably
Sue?
all have thoughts.
Yeah.
But let me leave me a little time for it. That's a big
Well,
question.
You know, one of the things, if it's a public or charter school, they can utilize the Arizona Department of Education AT department. So they have AT specialists that can literally go into the classroom and help with the teacher and the student, maybe determine AT that would be, and they for sure use the SETT framework and help determine And usually that can be written into their IEP. And often school districts will borrow equipment from the ADE loan library, which is at ASTAP. And because school districts can't always afford a device, so they really need to make sure they know that device is going to work. So I would really encourage staff to go to the ADE AT specialist.
Can I add to that? That was good input, Heidi. I've been there when the school districts have told therapists, don't write that in the IPE code because then we have to buy it. And the therapists have a dilemma because they know certain device would meet the client's needs. So the thought is they've evolved this whole SETT framework and the feature match approach so that the family and the student and the therapy team is not asking, give me this device. It's a natural progression of this is why this device is needed. So your documentation, all your trials, your successful trials, those will all help your words are very powerful. Those will help the school district to say, this is legit. I do want to buy this device rather than, oh, I don't want to buy it. So that's one thought, is to make sure your teams follow the national protocols, which are that feature match approach. The second quick thing is if the student is involved in our transition program, the voc rehab, remember that, Abel? The transition program, please help to get the person involved. For VR counselors, the scope of service for schools, the literal, remember the definition for IDEA? It's access to the learning curriculum. That doesn't say anything about preparation for employment. It's access to the learning curriculum. So if they can loan a device, that does meet their need for education. But when that kid gets to be, junior and senior in high school, and they're using a piece of pretty complex technology like an on-com device that's borrowed or worse, my worst story is a Braille note or a Braille note taker that the school will take away from them at graduation. Make sure early in the plan, while they're still in high school, we can do that feature match. We can do that SETT framework, and VR is able to buy the legitimate device early so that their familiar service team within the school can transition that student from the borrowed device into their permanent device, and they are that much more ready for work from day one. So that's the little story. Did I say it well?
Yeah, and just to add another quick thing, because I think there might be more questions, is that a lot of times people, especially family members, don't know that it's the law that the AT has to be written in the IEP. They could put no AT needed, but it has to be written in there. It's the law that it has to be brought up. So just like Sue was saying, doing demonstrations and using the equipment, I had a lot of therapists and teachers that used videos and showed it, and the district had a really hard time saying no after seeing videos. They're very powerful.
The problem with the law is it says we're required to address it, and we used to nickname that conversation the yup nope conversation. You don't want it to be yup, we addressed it, we talked about it, and they don't need it. That's the yup, we addressed it, nope, they're not getting it. It shouldn't be a yup nope. It should be, let's look at these features, let's find out how they support this student for their existing education plan, for their transition into employment, and maybe their transition into college. It's driving me crazy to see students come out of the school system and they don't know their joystick on their power wheelchair can be used as a mouse, and they're struggling using the mouse. It's like, what? But the school system is not required to look at the power chair as a computer access tool, but we will be happy to do that because it'll make that person that much more efficient in how they type. They're competing against people who type, 85 to 95 words a minute. So there you go. And thank you. Somebody said, thank goodness for VR. That was music to my ears. That was pretty cool.
Thank you all for your input on that question. And just in case those of you missed what Heidi talked about, the ADEAT loan library, I put a link in the chat to that website. So share that with your school partners. I know anytime I've spoken with the AT loan library at conferences and things, they're severely underutilized. So please share it. And on that same kind of note, another question from Michael. ATEI is an excellent program. How are you increasing awareness and how can we help?
That is a great question, Michael, and we appreciate your efforts to help us out with it. We are in the same boat of wanting to get the word out there. We're really excited about the new ATEI program. So we're still doing some of the internal ramping up, but we will be officially up and running and taking all of the cases as of January 1st. So we're doing some training with the VR counselors and staff during the interim. But really the best thing that you can do to help with awareness is just continue to share information out to your networks and anyone in Arizona. Again, we are intended to be, with a few minor exemptions, the exclusive provider of AT services statewide. So if you need the services, you get it through us, you get them through your VR counselor. Just don't be afraid to ask and don't be afraid to follow up with your counselors on advocating for yourself and things that you need. The services and the tools are out there. It's just a matter of getting them for you.
Thank you all. While I'm waiting, just in case any other questions come in, I'm going to kind of go through some of the ending messaging here that I have in case people have to hop off right away. So one, thank you, Sue, Mary Ann, Heidi, and Nathan for an excellent and informative presentation. Folks, please take a quick moment. Jason has put a link into a survey in the chat. Please take a moment to fill out that survey. Those comments are very important to us. We as a group try to host these webinars during this month every year, and your feedback is always very helpful for us improving, in future years. This training was recorded and it will be shared out. So those of you that, I know that's always a question, how can we get access to this presentation, this training? It will be shared out once the recording is made available. So keep a lookout for that in your email. And then one more quick announcement from me. If you would like to receive a copy of the NDEAM press release, an infographic on U.S. disability facts, and a brief on the positive impacts of disability inclusion, please contact Michael Leva, and I will put his email in the chat so you'll have it. And again, thank you all for joining us and helping us to celebrate National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And let me get Michael's email copied for everybody and put in here. So if you want access to any of that additional information, just email him, bombard him. Please don't hold back. Ask him for everything. And then the only other question that came in, again for Michael, can you present at next year's IDEA conference?
I think we'd be happy to.
Yeah.
We'll wait for the invite, but we'll be there.
Great, thank you all. I don't see any additional questions that have come through. Again, I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you, presenters. And I don't know, Jason, anything else that we want to cover before we kind of end this?
I think we're good. So, everybody have a good day. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you.